All right, guys, there's a little bit of catching up to do. I haven't made the video of not this week that it's just finished now. We are Friday, the one prior. So if you don't really care about this, don't watch this video. But this YouTube channel is my journal, and I want to have a record of what I thought and what happened during this week for myself. So I'm still putting the video out there for my own record. If you want to see what happened that week, breach an account, bought a new one. There's a little bit of mistakes. I ended up being break even on the week. Decent mistakes for the most part of the week, and then saved it with a good trade on Friday. It's a bit sad because by avoiding the stupid losses, I would have been green on the week with that beautiful trade on Friday. It was a smack in the face trade, one of those you don't hesitate on. They're the trades I want to really focus on. I went back through what happened since the start of the year, and I know that there's always less than 5 per month of those really smack in the face trade where I don't hesitate almost at all. I want to trade less and focus really on those. So that's a goal for later. Maybe doing live stream is not a good idea for that because it means a lot of time at the chart when I should just maybe be there when it's the best timing. But anyway, let's go back through this week. All right, gonna try to make it quick. Coming in on the weekend from the previous week, we had clearly 3 drops on Bitcoin. So I was expecting a low to form. With what happened over the weekend, I was maybe this is the low, the final damage W, and we're gonna keep pushing up from here. I was expecting either Bitcoin or Ethereum to take this low. Bitcoin was more prone to take this one maybe before keep going and have like a 3 stabs down. And I was there, I was live stream for that CME Open, by the way, because I usually trade the CME Open on Monday. It's a high probable environment for trade. Sometimes we happen to dump at CME Open before the actual Asia Open. And after FOMC, your big news. But I was there and I saw all these rejection of low of previous week into that supply after 2 big moves up over the weekend. It was perfect for targeting this low. And I don't know, I sort of didn't have the balls to enter this trade. And I was okay, I might get a better entry by Asia. It just felt fake to have those 4 candles with those wicks. It really felt like a target here for another stab maybe. I didn't want to take the risk. It was really the exact same thing on Ethereum into fair value gap. That was really nice. And by the time Asia opened, we had this M, but it wasn't the prettiest. And at this time, the risk to reward from here to this low wasn't ideal. It was like a 1-hour trade. So I did not enter. Now this is hindsight, but it's sort of a retest here of the 50 as well. And then I just saw the whole of the Asian session melt down and I got really upset. And we got to in UK, nothing special happened. I won't drop down to the 5-minute right now, but there was a trade with a clean liquidity grab on the 5-minute. We had this breaker block, got ran through, didn't respect it, ran back through, retested from the underside. This was an M retesting Asia lows, so same on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I was targeting this low here. I was like, maybe because end of UK, sometimes you have manipulation move before US and US will reverse. This was my plan. And I thought we might get one of those 2 assets. I entered on Ethereum, but Ethereum or Bitcoin to take that low. And this is outside of my trading session. I usually stop mid UK and I entered this trade, got stopped out. So this one was stupid. Very not proud about this one. I was just under the emotions of that whole Asia session. This one was as well kind of stupid. I'm gonna go back down to the 5-minute. By the way, this was a clean setup in US. I don't trade US, I'm already in bed, but this was a nice W. Had a bit of a whipsaw price action, but once that wick got created and didn't go retested, it was pretty much retesting the 50 EMA. It was a bit of sharp move up and down to do some damage, but before the move up, so really good entry. Obviously, hindsight again. And here I was live, and for whatever reason, go back watch the live to see why. I decided to counter trend just because they stopped retesting 50% of the previous day, and especially that massive breakdown under the 200 EMA and having this double retest this week, in my opinion, being a trap. Once we started breakdown, I opened that trade with that stop up there, and we didn't go really much further. We held that 4-hour 200 EMA, a fair value gap. It was a 1-hour fair value gap, and Bitcoin held as well. And then when I saw that we were not going to go anywhere, I lowered my stop to this point, which honestly could have been my stop from the start of the trade, but would have not changed anything of the results, and got stopped for a bit less than 1 hour here. The rest of the week was pretty crap. Slow move up, big whipsaw. I was on a short. I'm gonna go back to this, but I was gonna short on a higher time frame on Ethereum. And once we have this big range, I knew that at some point we were gonna break out. And same, this is US, massive liquidity grab, reclaim of the AMS. There was another nice entry here from that liquidity grab. I would not enter just off that candle liquidity grab, but once you see that we're slowly climbing up with the 50 and the 20 EMA, even to break out of those highs, that's a decent trade. If you have your stop all the way down or here because you're going to break out, decent trade here. Then from the higher time frame perspective, this was my W. So rise 1, probably this a rise 2, and I was expecting a rise 3, the price to push higher. And this is the same here. This was my rise 1 here on Ethereum, even though we didn't break the middle peak. Big range, rise level 2. And here at this point where we had a run below the 50, a reclaim, there was that breaker, retested everything, liquidity grab here. I did enter this long on Ethereum. Bitcoin was doing a bit of a similar down, and here somewhat of a W retest. And this Asia range is missing, by the way. Let me add it. This was my Asia range, so retesting 50% of Asia as well. I enter, I don't realize that we get a sweep. This is potentially an M created, especially when you have, I've seen this pattern before. Range, take that range off, range, take everything off, aim for a reversal. I do enter this trade and I get stopped out because I didn't see that we swept Asia highs. I could have probably been break even on the 5 minute, but I wasn't looking that trade. I just had an alert at my stop loss or I'm not take profit. So then that's when there was a lot of trades taken. That's where I breached my 50. So I only had 2.5% risk. So 2 trades left on my 50K account. This was 1 loss plus fees, and then this was a half risk loss, but with fees ended up being 2R, so breached my 50K account on this. So what I did here is so stupid. This second long trade is the stupidest trade ever. Here, like I said, I failed to see this sweep, and especially after that second candle close, this is where I could have closed my trade because this was certainly bearish with Bitcoin failing to break the Asia highs. And I get stopped out, and for whatever reason, I believe that this low, and this is still 50%, it was just like taking people out. And then for whatever reason, I was still in mind of that rise level 3, which realistically only happened later. It was a bigger range. I do re-enter this trade by tilt, and I realize I think I'm tilting. This wasn't a good entry at all. And once I had here big candle breaking the 50 EMA, and then these 2 candles here retest with the wick and the bearish engulfing on the 5 minute. This is beautiful. By the time I decided to close my trade, price is already down here, so I take half a loss on this one. I took those 2 trades on my 100K account as well, which put it into drawdown. Then came the second mistake. This one is really costly. I realized this is my M. This is my retest. Beautiful entry here, a little bit late. So if I forget those trades, by the time I close this one and reopen my short, which should have been, my entry should have been up here with that stop loss here. And I should have been targeting just the Asia lows, which it still makes for a beautiful 3.5 hour trade. I enter this trade, it drops. And then I'm getting late into UK, which I usually don't trade anymore, but I still did manage this trade. We drop, we don't break Asia lows, but neither Bitcoin do. And because I realized we might be in a range, ideally this is a target. Price goes back higher, I'm not break even. I don't go break even that much anymore nowadays, which has been helping me a lot. I do get this retest in the extension. We start dropping and I'm like, the extension is going to take the low. So I move my stop loss here to break even as soon as we start trending down. And I don't know why my target was lower or anything. And I moved my stop loss and I went to bed. Don't ask me why, I do not know. I moved my target lower to this fair value gap and that demand. I probably even had a target in here or down there. Don't know why. Just milk it, recover all the losses I had so far. Instead of having a clear conservative target here at Asia lows, I guess I wasn't happy with that 2-hour trade. And I wake up and obviously price missed any TP I had, which was this one or lower, and stopped me at break even, where I could have had a winning trade here. So this one is super painful. So we are in this range now. I'm still expecting that rise level 3 into liquidity above. And at the UK Open, I wasn't even at my laptop. I was in my garage working on my mountain bike, and I happened to see the chart just when this so beautiful W of 50% of Asia creates itself. And I had Bitcoin taking low of previous day, while Ethereum is not. And Ethereum is still doing, it's not clean at all as a candle pattern here, but it's retesting 50% Asia and it's retesting 50% of previous week. But here the setup is smack in the face on Bitcoin. I'm expecting that rise level 3. We had potentially 2 drops down as a retrace. We had this range. There's liquidity building up here of that trend line. And so here I enter this trade. And that's when I was so confident in this trade that I quickly bought another 100K account to enter that trade again. So there's 2 trade management on this one. One that I wanted to play all the way up to this target, whatever that was, on the higher time frame. So really milking it. The other one was just taking those highs here. I had this downward trend line here with, you could say 1, 2, 3, 4 touch. You usually break it. But like I explained in one of my streams, if you were here trading, targeting those highs, you missed them, you got retraced to entry or to stop loss. Sometimes when price gets close to your target, just close the trade and take it, because it might not get there. I'm not saying every time close it there, but if it's doing like here, ranging above your target, just close it. Same here, that happened here again. If you were targeting those highs, you missed them, and it went all the way back to your entry or to your stop loss. So what I did to feel good, I took 50% here when we started ranging for a while, and we did tap that trend line. I could have probably have a 50% TP at the trend line, but this was good enough for me. And then I waited until price moved, and when my target was here on this trade initially, then I've let it break out in case we were going to move up there. And as this candle breaks out, I'm aggressively trading my stop, and I drag my stop, price moves, and this is where I dragged my stop, and price reversed and stopped me out. So really good milking of the second half of that trade on it. That turned out to be a 3.5 hour trade, which was on my new 100K account. That's because it was brand new and I really wanted to lock out that first winning trade. That's what I did. So this turned out to be a 3-hour trade with fees. And on my 100K that was in drawdown, the first one. So same trade. The thing is, I was really targeting all the way up here. And I think there was news here. We had this candle up, down, and as we were moving higher, I closed 50% of my trade here because I thought we might not take this high. And I dragged my stop loss as well just below when we were in this candle. So I took 50% as we were coming up, and then I moved the rest of the trade as well, because there's no point me trying to get this full almost 6-hour trade. I'm already at 5-hour trade, 4.5, 5-hour trade. Like, close, take the profits. So I did, and that's what made me recover a lot of my drawdown on my 100K account. And with all the losses from the start of the week, this 5-hour trade just brought me at break even. And I could have just had this trade for the whole week, that trade on Friday. There's plenty of weeks when you stay patient, you wait, and sometimes on Friday you get that trade. Sometimes you don't get it, but this is a clean example of if I did not have all my losses on stupid trades at the start of the week, my tilt over here, the 2 stupid shorts I took on Monday and Tuesday, this was a 3-hour week, 5-hour at best. So this was my week. Not all those trades have been posted on X because I was trying to disconnect from socials a little bit, and it feels good. I see you tomorrow or the day after tomorrow for this actual week recap. See ya.